What happened to the sound?
Hey, Robert, did you lose sound?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I just sent Adam a text to see.
Oh, okay, good.
Oh,
You're muted,
That's
Chris.
back.
Before you get started, so we're
Okay.
muted.
we need to start to maybe bring something like that in for a contract.
So you muted the meeting until you get started, Adam?
No, Ben has control, but because it's already going out over the internet, it stays muted until we get started. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Robert and I were wondering why it got quiet.
That's why.
Thanks.
I'm gonna close the door.
Is that thing really listening?
I was trying to figure that out too.
What's that?
No.
Oh, Robert, can you hear us now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, all right. Call the meeting to order. Julie, would you have us do the roll call, please?
John Bartlesmeyer,
Here.
Dave Elliott,
Here.
Jim Fewens,
Here.
Kirk Hart,
Here.
Brian Holt,
Here.
Robert Nelson.
Present via Zoom.
Would you stand with me for the pledge of allegiance, please? Pledge of allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There are no comments from the chair tonight. We have no public comments tonight. Okay. Consent agenda. Approval of agenda. Approval of minutes of previous meetings. Attached are the minutes of the regular board meeting conducted on August 29th, 2022. Approval of treasurer's report, bills and claims. Attached are the treasurer's report and the bills and claims report. Approval of personnel actions, additions, Michael Clark, CDL examiner / mechanic, effective September 12th, 2022. Callie Griffin, assistant rodeo coach, effective September 13th, 2022. Tommy Myers, C-Tech director, effective October 4th, 2022. Kaylee Binford, nursing instructor, effective October 4th, 2022. Separation is Kenda Major, HEP database manager, effective September 14th, 2022. It is recommended consent agenda items be approved as presented. Is there any discussion? Any questions? I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Julie, would you call for the vote, please?
Elliott,
Yes.
Hewens,
Yes.
Hart,
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes,
Bartlesmeyer.
Yes. I'm just going to go out on a limb here. Do you want me to read the entire minutes of the budget work session or trustee meeting? Thank you. Now, can anybody give me a first page here?
53. 53.
Okay. Item A, approval of workforce development vehicle purchase. Workforce development is in need of a 3/4 ton truck for recruitment and haul deliveries to their various locations, Fort Scott, Pittsburgh, Paola, and Pleasant. Ideally, the truck would be $15,000 or less with less than 150,000 miles. Below are some of the vehicles logistics as considered. Attempts to purchase the vehicles below have been unsuccessful because of the length of time required for approval before purchasing and the high demand on car lots for vehicles with these parameters. Original searches were for a 1/2 ton truck, but for increased safety and with some of the loads to be hauled or towed, a 3/4 truck is now being considered. I guess, for example, a 2007 Dodge Ram with 126,543 miles for $7,974. 2005 Ford F-150 with 142,296 miles for $7,495. 2006 GMC 1500 with 148,808 miles for $9,995. It is recommended that the board approve the expenditure for up to $15,000 for the purchase of a 3/4 ton truck with less than 150,000 miles for immediate purchase when located. So in other words, these were vehicles that came up that would work, but by the time it goes through the board, they're gone.
Last month, yes, we were looking for a 1/2 ton.
Right.
And thinking that would be sufficient for what was needed. And by the time the board approved last month, then it was gone.
Right.
So in the process between last month and this month, they really need a 3/4 ton truck, but we figure we will run into the same issue. So we're asking, when we find one, can we purchase it? If it's under 15 and it meets these.
Right. Does everybody understand that? Okay. Any more discussion?
They'll have trouble even finding a 3/4 ton.
It is a challenge.
It's just a kind of
And
a challenge to get
then,
one.
you know, some of them will not take a deposit and hold it. They don't want to. That's what happened to us the last
No.
time. They didn't want to take a deposit. And, but, I mean, we were only talking about 3 days difference between when we
I'm sure.
Yeah.
found it and it just is gone.
Then everybody understands the situations. Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
Then moved and seconded. Julie, would you call for the vote?
Hewens,
Yes.
Hart,
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Nelson,
yes,
Bartlesmeyer,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
Item B, consideration of heavy equipment simulator bids. Simulators are needed for the heavy equipment operator courses at STARS, which is the Pleasanton program. Bids were requested from multiple vendors with only one vendor submitting a bid. The request for proposal bids had to be submitted by September 12th, 2022. Sim for Motion, doing business as CAT Simulators, submitted the only bid for the simulation equipment. The bid includes simulators for 2 excavators, 2 loaders, 2 dozers, 1 grader, and 1 backhoe, as well as all installation training, curriculum, and technology support. CAT Simulators bid is for $675,644.24, which will be paid for using ARPA grant funds. It is recommended that the board approve the bid from CAT Simulators. Is there any discussion?
John,
Adam, yes.
if I could for a minute. So we are approved for a matching grant from the state for $800,000 to purchase heavy equipment simulators. You see on there, there's 2 excavators, 2 loaders, and 2 dozers. One of those will go up to the STARS program. The other one will go to CTEC at this time. And then we can swap out the grader and backhoe between the 2 as needed. And Chris, jump in if you have anything to add. With that, the training is in technology support. It's 3 years of curriculum or 36 months of curriculum. Our program should be done in a year, so we should be fine on that. But there would be no local funds expended on this project and no institutional funds. It would all be grant based.
There's 8 simulators,
There's 8 simulators, yes.
and with the hopes that we're talking with Fort Scott and Uniontown and getting construction trades with heavy equipment. Move around.
Yeah.
Chris, do you have anything to add to that?
No, that kind of covered. I appreciate Alicia mentioning that, you know, we did talk to Fort Scott. I'll talk about that in my update, but you know, with 8 of them, we can set them up, and then it's really not moving the simulator as much as it is the software package and the side arms with the controls that move from one campus to another. So if we wanted to switch the backhoe with somebody, we could easily do that. So
What does that entail, though? You like picking up this, where they sit with the control handles and moving that to a different place? Or?
well, and Adam may have something there, but basically it's a chair that has motion, so you can feel if you're going over bumps, but then the arms on each side have different attachments with controls. So if you have the bulldozer controls, you would grab 2 sidearm packages and the software that goes with it and just take those pieces. You wouldn't have to move the whole machine.
I see. Okay.
The curriculum too goes with NCCER, which is the construction trades national certificates that we issue. So their curriculum folds into that just perfectly with the textbooks we'd be using. So that's also a big positive with them.
Within our package, you see they have the computer screens on there that simulate that theoretical, what you'd see in real life. But we also have the VR package where they put the headset on and they look around like you would actually see it. So there is some other additions that you don't necessarily see in those pictures.
But now in this picture, I see the chair and the sort of things and the screen. That on the screen would be what you would be looking at.
Yes,
Like
your
through the windshield.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
There's pre-check inspections with them as well. The platform that they set on is actually motion based, so you feel it. Yeah.
Okay.
Is it similar to the one they have in Pleasanton?
Yeah, it is that exact one, Robert.
Okay, yes. Very sophisticated piece of equipment.
Yes.
Any more discussion?
That,
Oh, go ahead.
sorry, that is the company that submitted the bid, is the one who was at Pleasanton at the open house.
Okay, yeah.
Any more discussion or questions?
If we vote to approve this, do we get to play?
I think that is automatic.
That's a given.
Make it part of the motion.
That could be added to them, yeah. That's good. I like that, Brian.
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
So much time.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm sure, and I think Adam was said he tried to turn this machine over countless times, and he couldn't do it, so
Yes, I did.
I think that'd be fine. Okay.
He says he tried, but it accident.
No, I was intentionally trying to turn.
I'll just say I was digging a really good footing until I gave the controls to Adam. It's gonna be fine.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Julie, would you call for the vote?
Hart,
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Arnold,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
Hewens,
Yes.
Item C, consideration of student laptop purchase for the John Deere Technology Program. The John Deere Tech Program is seeking to purchase new or refurbished laptop computers to supplement the 25 Dell 5580 units that were purchased back in 2017. The main objective is to replace older laptops that no longer reliably for work with Service Advisor, as well as to meet increased student enrollment in the program. Somehow or another, that sentence didn't make sense, but that's
Right.
Oh, okay. Students will use these computers for various purposes as they progress through the program. Some of these uses include training on common classroom lab applications, such as Microsoft Office. In addition to training students to use key diagnostic applications for interfacing with John Deere tractors and implements. These laptops are critical for the success of each student in the program. Below are the minimum specifications we are looking to meet. These are based on Service Advisor's listed hardware requirements. Minimum specifications: 8 GB RAM, 512 GB hard disk or SSD, 15.1-inch screen. Charge port must be on the side of the laptop. 15 or higher processor. AMD may work. 3-year ADP warranty on-site or ship in, new equipment only. Decent battery life. I know this is subject to usage. Preferred specifications are for future proofing. 16 GB RAM, 1, is that tablespoon? TB SD.
I'm just gonna be careful reading SSD.
15.6-inch screen. Charge port must be on the side of the laptop. 15 or higher processor. 3-year ADP warranty is on-site, new equipment only. Long battery life. I know this is subject to usage.
I think Ben's here to kind of discuss this. Or is it you?
It's
Sorry.
me and Ben both.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
So to give you a little history, John Deere Service Advisor only works with certain computer types and that type of thing. And so in 2017, we bought new units to give to John Deere to utilize with Service Advisor, and they've kind of reached their end of life. So we're at the point of needing to do that again. Now, we can't just buy regular old laptops for John Deere because of the usage that they give, where they're at, and that type of thing. So they have to be, do we call them tough books before? Is that what it might have? tweaked it?
Kind of, there's like a certain strain of model that are geared for that kind of usage.
So this would be the updating to the newer version so the students can use them. Service Advisor is actually able to run on it. Service Advisor is the program that John Deere uses for just about everything they do. I will tell you that our John Deere program has the highest enrollment that I've ever seen it at. So we're getting to the point of absolutely needing, we don't have enough machines for the students. So, and I just looked a minute ago, it's higher than it was from between now and 2013. I don't know about going back to 2004, but in the last 10 years, we're at our highest enrollment in the John Deere program that we've had.
Well, and I'm sure that John Deere has certain specifications that they have to meet in order to talk to the John Deere type.
Correct.
Correct. Speak the same language or something. Just,
And that's what that
Yes.
Service Advisor program really does.
okay. Okay.
And we're looking for units that have the ideal specifications rather than the bare minimum. So when we asked John Deere, that's where you see the minimum specifications on the sheet there. The long-term future-proof specifications are to make sure these last longer, so we don't have to have another massive refresh like this as soon as the warranty expires in 3 years, basically. In that type of work environment, these laptops degrade very quickly. So basically, as soon as you deploy a laptop for student use, it begins to degrade. So the better the specifications, the higher up the model, things like that, that will prolong the life of the laptop pretty significantly. Unfortunately, sort of like the truck situation you guys were talking about, availability is a major issue right now. So we have a couple of quotes that we were able to procure sort of last minute, just to get an idea of how much it's going to cost. But what we're really looking for is permission to spend about 15K on the right solution as we're kind of feeling out the market and seeing what's available and what's not.
So are you basically going to age out the laptops that you're having or that you use now or that they use now?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. They're almost to the point of not being usable at all.
Even for parts.
Right.
They have a rough life, the laptops over there too, so.
Okay. Any questions or comments?
Is this something that was already budgeted?
I think we falls, I'm gonna ask Julie, I think it falls within the John Deere fees to budget these out.
Yeah, we put 10 in special requests, 10K, and then last year, if you remember, we began a special computer fee for John Deere. And there, you only got one year in there, but there's 5K in that account that we're going to use to make the other 15 that we're requesting.
And then we won't have to buy it
And then-
next year or the year after.
Yeah, and hopefully by the time we have to refresh them again, we've accumulated enough money that we can do that without.
And how long have these units been in use that they're using now? The ones that are old?
2017.
2017, 5 years.
Okay.
This is year 6.
Okay.
Is there ever an option for you to lease, for us to lease them? So that they turn fairly regularly?
I don't know.
Not that I'm aware of. I've never visited with a vendor that would allow something like that, especially for this use case.
Okay, I'm just curious.
Maybe they're a little more ham-fisted over there with a wrench. I don't know. Okay. Any more questions? I'll entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Julie, would you call for the vote?
Holt,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Arnold,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes.
Fewens,
Yes.
Hart,
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I believe administrative updates. Who wants to start? Chris, you want to start with administrative updates?
Absolutely, it would be my pleasure. Lot going on, a lot with the CDL right now. So we finalized the contract with Kansas Department of Commerce, Workforce Aid. I've been working with Tyson Winningham on that. And so basically this contract will provide half of the funding for a business that wants to get an employee, their CDL, with the business providing the other half. And so we're going to have an event at Ellis Fine Arts tomorrow where Lieutenant Governor Toland, Mike Bean, and Tyson Winningham will be there, and we'll sign the contract. Basically, they enter into a contract with Fort Scott Community College to provide training for areas of high need, high wage, which CDL falls into that. And then a business that is interested will also have a contract with the Department of Commerce. And the way it's written right now, the business will pay their $1,500 to Fort Scott Community College. Department of Commerce pays their $1,500, and then we basically would send an invoice that says this is paid for by Waste Management. Dan Boley is who I've been talking to quite a bit about it, but other businesses are certainly able to do that. So that's going to be an event tomorrow, like I said, 11:45 to noon. If you're available and want to come by, that would be, I think Lieutenant Governor Toland has to leave at 12 sharp. So, but it's a good event. I'm excited about it, and it's going to get the word out. I currently have 22 students that have called. I've been keeping a list of names and phone numbers. I have 22 students interested in taking our CDL program, and that's with no advertising. So I anticipate some more phone calls after tomorrow if the media gets a hold of this and lets people know what we're doing. So that's going well. Michael Clark, our CDL trainer, mechanic, examiner, was in Wichita all last week with Brian Brunt, and he passed his examiner training, did very well. I think he's really going to be a good addition. He's starting to look at the tractor trailer to see what it needs. Going to start working on that and getting it ready to go. And then Brian Brunt is coming down on September 27th. He basically has to approve our basic skills course, which right now I have a location on the bypass here in Pittsburgh. It's Crawford County storage area for gravel, and there's a big open lot. And so we're going to start there. We have a place behind CTEC to the east of CTEC that's staked out, and we're going to get gravel put in there so we can have that here eventually. But initially we'd like to start out there, and then Brian will have to approve our basic skills course and lay it out for us. And then same thing with our road test route. He'll want to make sure we have a plan for that. And so we're hoping to get started October 10th. So we've got a lot of work to do between now and then, but we've made a lot of progress as well. So that's going really well. And I have school bus people that have called, and I think I may work out a thing with USD 250, which is across the street here, to see if we can use one of their buses anytime we had a school bus CDL that was needed. I had a gentleman from Neoda Shea School District call wanting to see if we could get a guy tested. So in that scenario, it would work best for him to drive his car here. We borrow a bus from USD 250 and get him on the road. So I'm excited about it. There's, we're as ready as we're going to be, I think, once we get approval from Brian Brunt. So we'll get moving on that. And then Adam and I met with Fort Scott High School admin and counselors and started talking to them. We met with Destry kind of right at the end of July, early August. And what are we doing to get construction trades is easy to get started in Fort Scott High School? They have an instructor. Actually, there's a grant through the Association of General Contractors of Kansas, where they'll provide for the training for a teacher, a high school teacher. They'll provide the training in NCCER, as well as textbooks for the school, and they'll even provide the tests. So it's like a couple dollars per student to take their test for certification, and AGC will provide all of that for a high school. So we're working with Michael Kastner, their instructor, to get him set up and going. If they do that part of it, then it makes it an easy transition for us to be able to offer those construction trades courses to their high school students, but also any of our college students. Instead of driving to CTEC, they could take those classes as well. And I think something like that it goes a long way, and they're very open to it. I think we can get that going, and it will be easy then to look at other programs like the heavy equipment operation and some of those as well that we can do with Fort Scott High School students in mind, as well as our Fort Scott Community College students, because technically a high school student is a Fort Scott Community College student. So they were very receptive. That was a very positive meeting. So I'm looking forward to getting that going as well.
Question? Where are the facilities that they're gonna use for this? Is it at 234?
Yes, yep. So we would use their facilities. I think Adam had talked to him about that previously. And was planning, they were open to letting us have a few college students come into the high school and take those classes. They've got it set up pretty well. So other than that, I think that's most of what I've been working on. We've got, with Stars, they got their new stick and TIG welders in last week and got to try them out and said they're working great and that's going well. I have a load of steel that I need to take up to them, but they had requested some steel and I was able to go out to Nice and pick up everything they needed to build a couple of welding tables that they can lay out on and work on. And the guys at Nice have been fantastic to work with. I know we have at least one of our students from C-Tech, and they were interviewing another student from C-Tech. And I think they were talking to one of Brandon's students that's taking classes on main campus. He may not be welding for a little bit yet because, of course, he just started the classes on campus. But they've been really good to work with, and I can't, tell them how much I appreciate the donation that they give us in steel plate because it makes a big difference.
I think it'd be nice if somebody like you or Adam or could even a letter to the editor in the paper some way or another, thanking them for helping this program move along. Anytime I think that we could show that we're working with these local companies and they're working with us, I think it's good PR. I just think that's a good thing. It's just a two-way street. It works really well both ways.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't have an issue with that. Interestingly, we have from Miami County campus to C-Tech, we have around 50 welding students. And so when I hear from businesses that are ready to hire 20 today, which is kind of a common theme, everybody really needs them. Looking at maybe we've done job fairs in the past, but I would like to consider maybe just doing one for welding and welding industry on main campus, perhaps, because there's an element for these students. They're in the shop and they're welding. They're like, I don't know if I want to do this as a career, but if they find out what some of these businesses have and what they offer, they might go, oh, well, I'm not interested in that type, but man, I'd love to learn to weld aluminum. And you've got Twister Trailer right there. So, I'd like to connect these students and businesses with the welding in particular, because we have such a large group. This would be our largest group of welders that would graduate in May. So that's something else I'll be working on, because I think that would be a great opportunity for our businesses to meet them. I know Nice loves to have tours as well. They're more than happy to have our students come out and tour. So yeah, I'd be willing to write a letter to an editor or a shout out to them somehow.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Anything else?
That's all I have, unless anybody has a question.
Any questions? Julie?
Primarily, most of what I have to report on tonight is the business office or financial aid. This week and next week are really busy weeks for both departments. Refunds go out September the 30th, so we're kind of doing that wind up of looking at making sure we got all our awards posted, scholarships posted, that type of thing this week, and then we'll start the process of refunds late Friday to make sure that we're ready by next Friday. That the first 2 weeks of refunds are really significant in the workload and the amount of refunds that go out. It's usually over 300,000 and a lot of, takes about a week to get through, make sure we've got everybody right. Then auditors come on Wednesday or Thursday. I've heard Thursday, then I heard Wednesday, so we're ready. By the end of the day tomorrow, we'll have everything printed and ready for them and setting back there. They will be here for 2 weeks. So that's a good process. We're ready to wind up that part. And, you know, logistics is kind of working. The vehicles are really tough to get right now. You know, we've already talked to you about the truck for workforce development, but we also are having the challenge with getting, we usually lease 3 vans, and we're having the challenge of literally getting them here. Hopefully, from what Charles talked to him last week on Friday, they were supposed to be headed our direction, and he's hoping they're here by this Friday because we're gonna put them on the road immediately between livestock and that type of thing. So vehicles are hard to get, any model, I guess I would say. So that's one thing he has worked really hard on. IT, I've kind of lost track of what they're doing. They seem to be, this week I've lost track. I know they have some work that they're gonna do in the theater tomorrow with some speakers and that type of thing. You have a vendor coming in, and they have Zoom room stuff that they're working on and email stuff, that type of thing. So I'm not sure what they're doing this week, but they're moving along. Ben can tell you. So, good week for us, good month for us. We're getting some things that take forever, seem to take forever, tie them up by the end of the month. So that's what we're working.
I've had people ask me before about the refunds. Can you explain that a little bit more? What are you refunding?
We process and apply all scholarships, if they have completed their FAFSA, all their Pell and loan money. And that's applied to their student balance. So by now they have all their charges on there for their classes and their dorm and their meals. So all of those are as they accept them. So like for loans, they have to accept and do particular steps for that on the federal government side. Even after they've completed their FAFSA. Whatever is left over of all of those funds that were applied to their account is refunded to the student. Okay. So if they have, I'm trying to think what a normal bill for 12, 15 hours in dorm and meals is about, I want to say about $5,000 roughly. If they have an athletics or a scholarship, an institutional scholarship, that pays for the tuition on their credit hours. And then if they have Pell and loans, whatever is left, you know, they may have $7,000 that's applied to their student account. So the difference between 5 and the 7 that was applied is refunded to them.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Just had people ask me about that before. Why do they get a refund now? Yeah, so, okay. All right.
They do. It depends on what kind of financial aid they have.
When this is applied.
Right.
Okay, all right, thank you. Anna?
All right, just a couple of things. One, today we found out we were awarded the Integrating Academics Grant, which is about $8,700 from the Board of Regents, and that will allow us to teach. We're focusing on teaching English. I believe I briefed everybody on this last time. Teaching English in the trades classrooms in Pleasanton. Sorry, struggling with that. So we were awarded that grant today to purchase books for those classrooms, pay the instructors and that sort of thing. So that was good to be notified of that. We're going to begin working on our quality initiative proposal for the Higher Learning Commission. This is part of our accreditation that we are required to do. In the open pathway, after your 4-year visit, you are then required to submit a quality initiative proposal between years 5 and 7. And then once that proposal has been submitted, the final part of your 10-year cycle is completing what you proposed. Well, we were fortunate to have some guidance that said we're going to focus on assessment for our quality initiative proposal as we're told what we're going to work on. And so that's our proposal is going to be going forward on that. We've made leaps and bounds in assessment in the last few years. I think Rob could probably testify to we're a lot further ahead of work than where we used to be. But we still have some ground to make up, and that's going to be our quality initiative proposal will help us get to that point. here in the next couple of months, a couple of the members of the assessment committee will be bringing a presentation to the board kind of on what's been done in those areas. The last thing I have is, Chris and I have been working on a lot of different things, but I wanted to give a thank you to our faculty for everything they do. The semester started seamlessly. We have had no issues as we have moved throughout the semester. And on Friday, minimal issues in the classroom, let's put it that way. Not no issues, like Kirk says, no issues. But minimal issues. But on Friday, we received Title IV funds. So a requirement of receiving Title IV funds must celebrate Constitution Day. So Friday's Constitution Day, and we had a table set up and gave out some 30 to 40 different constitutions that students picked up. And then Judge Hart did a mock trial in one of his classrooms. So his government class and Kevin Tamir's history class, we opened up one of the round rooms and did a mock trial in there. And it was the Earps trial in Arizona from the shootout at the OK Corral. And so it was kind of interesting. I got to play the prosecutor. Kevin was the defense. It was enjoyable. And Judge wrote the back and forth and wrote all the testimony and everything for it. Some of it was already written. Wyatt Earp's testimony was already written in it. And then he had the students talk about what their understanding of the Constitution was. Was justice served as appropriately and that sort of thing. So it was really kind of a neat experiment and activity. And a lot of them, I think, enjoyed it. I probably enjoyed it more than they did, but that's all right. It was a really unique thing, and just, some recognition for the great job that our faculty do and working together and that type of thing. So they don't get enough credit.
I think we should do more things like that.
We do a lot. I probably don't report on as many of as I should. So we do a lot of really, really neat things in the classroom.
I've been busy this semester. I'm making appearances in the orientation classes, which is usually all of our new students, freshmen and others. Just kind of telling them not only about what the foundation does, offering those scholarships up for them, but also talking about just some of the resources that we have available at Fort Scott for our students who are sexual assault victims, and going through that whole process of how to report those and kind of the obligation of Fscc if any of those situations come up. The reason for those is to just make sure that they're aware of the resources that they have for them here, and just so they understand the process, how to report that from the moment it happens to the moment that we kind of take over. We introduced the anonymous incident report to them, which is available on our website as well. And a lot of that, normally I don't get any anonymous incident reports. Those are reports that they fill out on our website and they're emailed directly to me. And it can be something like that, something serious as a sexual assault. It could also be academic integrity. Literally anything that can happen on a college campus, they can report. And those will go directly to me. Normally, I don't get any before I go to those orientation classes, and as soon as I show them that that's a resource for them, we start getting them. And that's a good thing, because my cameras and myself and my RAs are only a small part of what happens on campus. And so it really does serve its tool to be able to provide a resource for them to make sure that it's a safe educational environment. And so those have started to come in, and that's where the student affairs job really kicks into high gear for me. Just making sure that we're finding the holes of what we offer on campus and making sure that everybody's safe and everybody's happy. Not everyone can be happy, of course, but we do our best. We do our best that we can. Within the foundation, it's been very enjoyable first part of the semester, just being able to bring in some kids into the office, just meet with them, talk about where they're from, and see if there's any scholarships that kind of match up for them. We've offered well over $210,000 so far this year to students out of the foundation. Carolyn Sin was vital in that because Carolyn will sit down and go through each schedule and see where the kid's from and okay, well, he might match up with this one. We've offered more scholarships this semester than the foundation has in a long time. And I'm proud of that for really commend Carolyn and Sarah on seeking those out and getting them done. We've also worked with a couple organizations launching some fundraising campaigns through our Give Campus website. Cheer and who's the other one? Men's basketball. Cheer and men's basketball have them out currently. We'll launch 3 of them in the next couple of weeks as well. And so those work really well because they hit a community outside of Fort Scott, because some of the businesses, as Brian can attest to with me, get hit up for some fundraising campaigns so often that a lot of the success that we have of generating funds come from outside of our community. Through, the kid goes home and sends a coach, best friends, parents, a letter saying that, here I could use some help. So far the campaigns have been successful. And we're also on top of scheduling some events. We have the Twilight Golf thing on October 29th that we're looking forward to. We've gotten some good sponsors and some a fairly good group of participants in that at this point. We still have 6 weeks to be able to make sure that it's safe and that it's an enjoyable event for everybody. And we're also working on arranging for the Robert Bailey Memorial on the 28th of October. And as soon as we get all of those details with the family ironed out, we'll be sure to communicate those. And then next week, the 28th, it's 6:30 out on the walking trail. Since September is the Suicide Awareness Month, we have a suicide prevention and awareness walk. We'll have the path illuminated with lit bags and just to raise suicide prevention awareness. Because certainly that's something that this time of the year, it always seems like it sneaks its ugly head. There's something about like the first month, as soon as the first month of college classes hit, that's usually when students are technically look at dropping out, and if they're not interested, they don't fit in, and so it's important for September to kind of serve as that awareness month. That's pretty much what we've been up to. We're hard work and been enjoying it.
Tom, they talked about your golf tournament, the city commission meeting. Somebody get in touch with you about that?
Yeah, I'm going tomorrow. Tomorrow is the commission meeting, probably a couple more times as well. So we'll be on it. No one wants it to be more of a safe and fun thing than I do. So I'm not interested in injuries or anything else, and we'll make sure that it's all concerns will be alleviated.
Luke, do you have anything to add?
We did some updates to Arnold Arena, as you can see, kind of bringing it into this century a little bit. We also have a first night for basketball on September 29th. It'll be at 7 o'clock. It's basically like our Midnight Madness, like our Night at the Fog that KU does. We're doing a 3-point contest, dunk contest, cheer and dance are going to do a big performance, and it's free admission, just kind of bringing in basketball. We got 75 t-shirts from Key that they donated, so we're going to throw out some shirts for the first 75 people that come. So that's basically on the agenda. That's basically all we got for now.
You can.
Ben?
Yes.
Tell us about the IT department, what's going on?
We have been focusing on, we have sort of a 2-pronged approach to making sure the needs of the college are met right now. We have projects versus day-to-day tickets. And so to help us be more efficient, we have worked on isolating the two of those to two different approaches, I guess. So we have an approach to tickets where we make sure we're working all the tickets coming in from faculty to make sure they don't have issues in the classroom. Staff as they're going through their daily duties and things like that. I feel like we've had a very good turnaround time on tickets here over the past couple of months.
What's a ticket?
So when somebody has an issue,
A problem.
any kind of a problem.
Okay.
And then on the project side, right now we're pulling cable in Blue Hall for the new trio tutoring area that's going to be in there right across from R.C. Meyer's office. In general, we have a lot of network switches and racks and things like that that we're cleaning up. Some of our network equipment is getting a little bit aged, and so we're working on making sure everything is updated and working well, so we don't have as many tickets relating to those pieces of equipment. Other than that, we have some other projects coming up, but I don't have a lot of details on those yet. We haven't started on.
Okay, thank you.
Staying busy.
Julie, did you have something else?
I was gonna ask, would you, back to the refund comment, would you like for me to bring a couple examples next month? This is what a
Like
student could
a
be
student,
charged,
this is-
and then this is the financial. aid
Sure.
applied to.
I think that'd be
Okay.
worth it.
That might be better than a words than a picture might look.
Sure, that'd be fun. Alicia, is it your turn?
Yeah, it is my turn.
Okay.
Well, you can see, as always, there's a lot of moving parts, and we have some great people in place to take care of that. Just a couple of updates. We did go out for bids for the air conditioner on Arnold Arena and got no bids. And so that, of course, is being paid for with our HERF money, our CARES money. So Jared, our maintenance director, did visit with Rouse and a couple of others. And so we're trying to get some folks interested in bidding on that. So we're gonna leave that open now until the week before the October meeting to see if we can bring in a bid. Right now, we're just having a lot of issues with air conditioning, HVAC parts, and supply chain issues where people just don't even want to deal with it. As I know we've talked to you before, but Gordon Parks is still down. Jared called 7 different vendors this past week, and they all said, no go. There's just nothing really we can do. So we're still waiting on parts for the compressor over there. So it continues in terms of that specific industry. I'm not sure why is really having some issues being able to get supplies, et cetera. As we talked about, we had the KACCT meeting here, which was a really good meeting. And we had, of course, a lot of colleges, all 19 colleges had at least some representation here. And I think that all of them said that they were impressed with this facility and of course with the resources that we have here. A little bit about some of these grants. We've talked about most of them. Actually, that strengthening people and revitalizing Kansas, that $800,000 is called spark money, like he referred to it. It's kind of confusing. You'll hear it referred to as ARPA funds, but that is the money that we're using to do the heavy equipment simulators. We are getting started with the National Park Services African American Experience Grant. That is in collaboration with the Lowell Milken Center, of course, the historic fort, as well as the 2 high schools, so Uniontown and Fort Scott. And we will be able, we're going to develop some videos and some advertising, I think, materials that can be used for the park. And it's going to be a really good experience, I think, for the students. Our students will also be involved with that. We have written or helped, I say we, that's the mouse in my pocket, Ralph, who does a great job with writing grants, Ralph Preaching, submitted a Kansas Emergency Management grant to add on to CTEC, and that would be used as a safe room. We have, of course, that one has not been funded, and I really don't know what the possibility of those are. Those FEMA grants to build those safe rooms, they used to be more available than they are now, especially around here, after the Joplin tornado, you would see that quite often that money is not as forthcoming as it once was. We've got a couple little grants in to the area foundation. One is for us to get some supply cases to put memorabilia in, and the other one is for Gordon Parks. And that's for some interactive touch screen, displays that he wants. We've got a lot of other grants that we're talking about. I say a lot of other. We've met with ICC on a TAC grant, which is a trade association grant. Those are great big grants. I don't know what our chances are exactly on that, but you don't know if you don't try. And so those won't come out until next February. So we're taking a look at that. There's several different migrant grants we're also taking a look at through John Farrell and some of those things. And so we've identified some of those as well. The like I said, one of the grants that we just received today are the smaller grants that we just wrote, and that is to embed English into the curriculum for tech people. We've also embedded math. And so those are things that are really important and very beneficial to our students. And I think that those are kind of things that we definitely like to see. Just a little bit of follow up on the CDL program that Chris mentioned. The reason that we could do CDL, because we used to do CDL, obviously there's a wonderful history here of truck driving, but it had become more of an industry trained licensure. And so once the feds changed the rules in February, you have to have some training that you have to check off on that's behind the wheel, and also what we would refer to as didactic, the lecture. And so what we found was that we could not figure it out in terms of credit hour, but we can do it as a business and industry piece, which means that we don't get state funding for it, but we also don't have to meet the minutes that you have to meet for credit hour, which really makes you inflexible when you're trying to meet those business demands. And so we're very excited. We have worked very hard with the Department of Commerce and the Department of Revenue, and thank you to Adam and Chris, to make sure that this Department of Commerce Workforce Aid Grant is a new model that they plan on using around the state. And so we're getting a lot of, hopefully, kudos from it, from the Department of Commerce, from Kansas Board of Regents and others that are saying, let's take a look at a new model for this Workforce Aid Grant. So Fort Scott Community College will be the central point of contact, which before that wasn't the case. And so if a business, John Bartlesmeyer Jewelry, needs a truck driver, they can come to us. We can get the student going. That's very large, very large. Anyway, they can come to us. We get the student enrolled. We are their contact with the Department of Commerce, so we can get the money for them. And before it wasn't like that. They had to go individually to the Department of Commerce to access the workforce aid. And it was just with one business, and it was only with private business. So we've got several different things in this grant that are unique. And that is that public businesses, as I believe Adam or Chris talked about, will be able to train bus drivers, or if a city needs a dump truck driver, a class B or whatever, then they can also take advantage of those workforce aid dollars. And they finally decided that wasn't double dipping, that would work. And so we're excited about being able to offer that model, and appreciate all the work that's gone into it. And it was a little bit last minute, but they called last week and told him it was going to be in Pittsburgh anyway. And so he's stopping by, as we said, tomorrow. So we hope that if you can, please stop by. It'll be pretty quick, but we'll just sign the contract.
And that's 11:45.
11:45, yeah. So, and it's in Ellis. So, but we are excited about that model, as we are excited about a lot of things, but it's going to be very beneficial, I think, to Southeast Kansas. And I think Chris and his folks will be very, very busy. So that's all I have. I'd be happy to stand for questions.
Questions?
Oh, except to tell you that I'm making Adam go in my place tomorrow, Wichita, I think, with the private colleges. Yeah.
more important to be here for that.
I told him he didn't have to go, but. So, he went to Cable with me last week too. Did Chris go?
Chris went with me. He was thrilled. He didn't complain about it the whole time at all.
He's muted.
Yeah, about 2 hours in, he was already done.
We read the body language there.
I love a good meeting.
Man, I went to a cable meeting one time and I couldn't get enough Coca-Cola to keep me away. It
Is that
was,
what that was?
it was. That's all I could get. Anyway, that's another story. If nothing else,
Can I make a quick comment, John, before you?
Yeah.
And just to mention that the Garden Park celebration is scheduled for the first week in October. I don't have my schedule with me of all that's going on, but that celebration is scheduled, and if you need a schedule, I'm sure Kirk would be glad to supply you with what's going on, the activities. Should be a good weekend.
Yes, and it's right on the front of our website as well.
Okay. Thank you, Robert. Anything else? Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Seconded. All in favor, say aye. 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 Opposed? The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Oh,